What's up, legends? And welcome back to the channel. Alright, so when you think of ancient warfare, you probably picture dudes with swords and shields, right? Kinda basic, kinda boring, isn't it? But what if I told you that before guns and tanks, our ancestors were running around with a loadout that was way more unhinged? We are talking about a level of creative chaos that would get you banned from most video game servers today. Forget everything you learned in the history class. Today, we are diving into 7 of the most bonker ancient weapons ever invented. And I mean bonkers. We are talking weaponized hornets, actual poop bombs, and a sword that's also a whip. This is the kind of stuff that makes you go, "Who hurt you, ancient people?" Strap in, because it's about to get weird. Let's go. Number 1 is Mayan Hornet bomb. Okay, kicking things off with a weapon that is pure nightmare. Imagine you're in a battle and someone throws a pot at you. You think, a pot? Then it shatters and a cloud of angry flying death machines comes straight out of your face. That, my friends, was the Mayan Hornet bomb. They would literally fill a clay pot with a bunch of super aggressive hornets, shake it up to get them extra spicy, and then just throw it at their enemies. When the pots smashed, an instant swarm of fury was unleashed. And get this, hornets are not like bees. A bee stings you once and it's game over for them. A hornet can sting you again and again and again. They have unlimited stamina and they chose violence every single day. The Mayans knew this and basically turned them into tiny living missiles of pure pain. They even made traps with them. They would dress up a dummy soldier and use a pot of hornets as its head. An enemy would run up, smash the fake soldier, and get a face full of furious hornets for their trouble. It's the ultimate deadly prank, isn't it? Alright, so weaponized bugs are terrifying. But what if I told you the next weapon is way more grosser? Like you might wanna pause your snack for this one. You ready? Number 2. Poop as a bioweapon. Yeah, we are going there. Human poop. It's disgusting. It's full of bacteria, and ancient armies absolutely loved it. This is next level. The ancient Scythians would coat their arrowheads in a horrifying cocktail of human poop, animal blood, and viper venom. If that arrow even scratched you, the wound would get infected, turn gangrenous, and you'd be in for a very, very bad time. It's basically poison damage. But wait, it gets worse. During the bubonic plague, commanders would literally catapult barrels of infected poop over castle walls to spread diseases among their enemies. Ancient Chinese armies did it too, loading up their trebuchets with what were basically dirty bombs. This wasn't just an old school thing either. In the Vietnam War, the Viet Cong would coat their punji stick traps with feces. So if a soldier fell in it, they get a deep wound that is almost guaranteed to get septic. It's horrifying, but you cannot deny it was an effective, low-budget bioweapon. So, number 3, Ghost Arrow. This one sounds spooky, and trust me, it is. The Ghost Arrow wasn't an arrow at all. It was a caltrop, a metal ball with 4 super sharp spikes. Think of it as history's version of leaving Legos on the floor for your enemies. No matter how you threw it, one spike was always pointing straight up. And because ancient armies were extra, they would dip these in poop and poison too, just to make sure even a small poke would lead to a massive infection. Soldiers would just toss these all over the battlefield to slow down charging enemies and horses. Imagine running at full speed and stepping on one of these cursed things. It was a cheap, silent, absolutely brutal way to control the battlefield. Okay, so we have covered biological warfare and sneaky traps. But what about straight up face-to-face combat with a weapon so weird it looks like a giant cleaning tool? Let's travel to China. Number 4. The Chinese wolf brush. So in the 16th century, China was dealing with some seriously tough pirates who would slice through pretty much anything with their massive swords. The Chinese general was like, nah, and brought out the ultimate defensive weapon, the wolf brush. It's not a brush, it was a 16-foot long bamboo pole that was super hard and weighed almost 10 pounds. The tip of it split into a bunch of smaller branches, and every single one was dipped in poison. In their famous Mandarin Duck Formation, which is an amazing name by the way, a soldier with a wolf brush would stand behind the guys with shields. When a pirate ran up, they would just thrust this giant pokey poison stick forward. The pirate wouldn't know how to block the dozens of little branches, and one little scratch was all it took. It required basically no training, just a willingness to poke somebody from really, really far away. Number 5. Urumi Whip Sword. Alright, this next one is straight off comic book or an anime. Seriously, Urumi is a sword that's also whip. It was used in India. Invented in southern India, it has a regular sword handle, but the blade is too long, super flexible piece of metal, sometimes up to 5 feet long. Some versions had over 30 of these thin blades attached to one handle. A warrior would swing it around like a whip, creating a huge arc of death that was almost impossible to block. It would literally wrap around shields and limbs. The most skilled fighters would spin it over their heads, turning themselves into literal blade of razor-sharp steel. The most skilled fighters would spin it over their heads, turning themselves into a literal Beyblade of razor-sharp steel. But here's the catch. The Urumi was just as dangerous to the person using it. One wrong move and that flexible blade would whip back and slice you. It was a high risk, high reward, high skill cap weapon. You had to be a master to use it, but if you were, basically untouchable. So we had a long range pokey stick and a crazy whip sword. But what if you wanted to attack from like really far away? Before drones were a thing, yeah, that happened. Number 6. The Heavenly Soldier Kite. Long before drone strikes, the ancient Chinese had the next best thing, a giant weaponized kite. This thing was massive, like 9 feet long, and under its frame, they strapped a pod full of 100 rocket arrows and dozens of small bombs. They would fly it silently over an enemy camp at night. A long, slow burning fuse would eventually reach the pod, and suddenly 100 rockets would scream down on the sleeping soldiers below. Can you imagine the absolute terror? And if that wasn't wild enough, there was a darker version. Sometimes, instead of a pod, they would strap a condemned prisoner to the kite with live explosives. Their last mission was a kamikaze attack into the enemy lines. At least they went out with a bang, isn't it? Number 7. The Claw of Archimedes. Okay, last but not the least, let's meet the OG Tony Stark of ancient Greece, the genius mathematician Archimedes. When the Romans were attacking the city of Syracuse, he was put in charge of defense, and he did not disappoint. He invented what's now called the Claw of Archimedes. It was basically a giant crane on the city walls with a massive hook on the end. When a Roman ship got too close, they would drop the claw, grab the ship, and just eat it. The crane would lift the entire ship out of the water and either flip it over or smash it against the rocks. It was a giant claw machine of doom. Legend says he also built a solar death ray using mirrors to set ships on fire. While we don't know if that is true, the guy was clearly operating on another level. Sadly, a Roman soldier who had no idea who he was killed Archimedes while he was busy drawing diagrams to the floor. The weapon's legend lives on, but the genius was gone. And there you have it. 7 ancient weapons that prove our ancestors were equal parts genius and completely unhinged. So, what do you think? Which weapon was the most mind-blowing? Are you Team Hornet Bomb, Team Poop Arrow, or Team Whip Sword? Let me know which one you think is the craziest down in the comments. If you enjoyed this trip through the weird history, do me a favor and absolutely obliterate that like button and subscribe for more bonkers stories from the past. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll catch up with you in the next one. See ya.